Hi guys, welcome back to Vintology by Lola. Okay, so it's time for our weekly tutorial. All right, so today I am going to show you, I'm just gonna move my camera a little bit. Hold on. There we go. Okay. All right, so today I am gonna show you how to make these cute, I call them pins, you guys, but to be completely honest, they don't have a sharp edge like a pin. It's filed off. So you'd have to punch a hole in your paper before you were going to stick it in. Now, you know, we make all sorts of things for our junk journals that are usable, right? Like flip outs and tucks and tags. These I just consider just pretties that you're going to embellish your book with. They don't necessarily serve any purpose except to make your book pretty. So if you're going to use some of these, this one here, which is, I believe, I know it's the Gilded Age at Hobby Lobby, and I love them. They're beautiful, but once you put something on this piece, which is what we're going to do today, you will not be able to stick it in your book like a pin. You will need to glue it down. And at the end, I'll show you what I'm going to do with mine, okay? So these are a couple. I showed these before. This is one that's completely done. This is one that's completely done. This is one that is completely done. I know, I sound redundant, don't I? Completely done. And then this one is done. And this happens to be my favorite one. I just love that one. That's with Kathy Holden's fabric that I cut out, okay? The difference between what we're doing today and what I did is I stitched them. So I stitched on the back here and then slid my pin on. I stitched around here and I stitched on stuff here and I stitched my buttons on. We're just going to use Beacon's 3-in-1 glue, okay? So you need some 3-in-1 glue. You are going to need some various pieces of scrap lace or scrap appliques, some more lace, one of these pins. And of course, if you don't have this, you can just use a traditional safety pin, right? And there's also the safety pins that don't have the coil. They're coilless. And the other thing that you could do that would make it also more usable would be if you used a big paper clip, right? But the paper clip had been done. That's the reason I didn't do it. Okay. Here are some buttons. And you're just going to need some scissors. And if you're going to put a charm on it, you need pliers, a jeweler's tool. And for the words, I used Timmy's Remnant Rums. They work really, really well on the fabric. Okay. And let's see if I can find, here's what I used. Okay. So when I made these were images that I had either purchased inside of a kit on Etsy, or it was something from the Graphic Fairy, or I found a free website where I could get these. So then I did these too. And these were more like ones for microscope slides, but they work really, really well, okay? And I had just put these on white fabric, and this is what I used. I used June Taylor's iron-on print and press transfer sheets. You literally put it in the computer, and it prints. It prints some pages, right? Here's some more. And I did this at 50% so I could get more in it. And then you cut it out. And remember, if you have words, you need to reverse the words, which I tried not to do any words because then it gets all monkeyed up if you don't remember to do the words, and you got to cut them out. And then literally you iron it onto a piece of white fabric. So this was originally just white fabric, and I ironed them on. You can see, I don't know if the camera will pick up this like shiny stuff on the sides. It doesn't make any difference because you're going to cut it out. So today I am going to start with the rose. Okay, so I'm going to do the rose here. All right. I was going to tear it, but I don't think that'll tear there. Okay. So that's the first thing you do, is you decide what your piece, your focal point is going to be, right? This is going to be my focal point. And I'm going to do all pink. So with this one, we are going to just glue. So this is what I do. Then from here, I know this is my piece, and I don't care that it's not perfect. If you're someone who has to have it perfect, you can use a roto cutter and a ruler and do that. I like people to know that it's handmade, so I am very happy with it being kind of kittywampus. I know that I have pink in it, so I know that I'm going to use this as my base, and I cannot tell you where I got this, you guys. Oh, that isn't true. I think I got this on Temu. And it came in this beautiful, beautiful little skein of pinkness. Hey guys, it's the end of the day. Focus with me, okay? Because I need it. So I'm just going to take that and kind of figure out where I want it, okay? So you can see down here. Move this so everyone can see, right? So this is kind of long, but now remember, I am going to fold it over, right? And what I do now, put a little crease in it, and I'm going to put some buttons up there, right? So I don't want it to be I don't want it to be totally at the top. Okay. And I want, as you can see with this one, I have a bunch of different layers, right? So I think I've got 3 layers on this one. So I'm going to do some of this because I love this, and I'm just going to cut off a piece because that's kind of how I work. It's just cutting it off and seeing what I like. And there's that. And I'm thinking I don't want it to show at the top. So I'm going to put this down here. Just like that, right? Okay. So I really like that. But somehow I want to incorporate some of my little vintage lace in here too. So I'm going to take that little piece off of there, right? Kind of straighten it out and maybe put it right there. And like that, because then you can't really see the seam of this lace if I put this down, okay? So then it can kind of go something like that, okay? All right, so how is that looking? We're okay with that? All right. So now you can decide if you're going to put any embellishments on it. Now what I'm doing now is this, I call this auditioning. I'm auditioning my pieces to see what I like. If I don't like it, I might try something else. So I'm also going to try a pink flower since it is predominantly pink, right? And again, this is really a great way to use your stash because you can see you can use just about anything, and you know what? It takes so little that it could just even be your scraps. So maybe I want to do something like that so it's a little bit layered, okay? And let's see. Trying to see, do I have anything else on here I want to use? I don't think so. I think I wanted to keep this one pretty simple. Although I did have this ticket that I cut out that says admit 1, but that doesn't really go with what I'm doing. You know, it's kind of, yeah, it's all right. But I have this little stamp that I cut out of fabric also from Kathy Holden's fabric, and I just kind of like that, okay? And then I'm going to just audition. Where am I going to put my buttons? So my buttons are going to be here, and my button maybe will go there, and my button will go there, okay? So now I have it completely set up how I want it, right? So now what I do is I kind of take it and I move it over to the side. I slide it over just the way I have it, okay? Because I don't want to totally deconstruct it, because if you're like me, you like the original one and you want it to look like that one, but if I take it apart, everything will be messed up, okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my pin, and I'm going to slide it in here and make sure that it fits, and I know it does because I've used it before. and I'm going to start my gluing process. Okay, so, and I know one thing for sure. I don't like this fold at the bottom, so I'm just going to cut that off. I can use that for a scrap, maybe for something else. We'll see. Okay, maybe fray it a little bit. So then I know that that's going to be my bottom, right? So then again, we're going to put this back on here. We're going to do this. And I do close it when I do it. Okay, so I close it. And if you're wondering about this, it doesn't come with this. I just had put this on. It comes like this. And it does have a little jump ring on the end if you want to put something on it. And that's why I said you might need these, the pliers, and then you'd put a charm on it. Okay, I usually do it now because it's easier than when all of the stuff is hanging on it. Okay, so then I'm going to line it up, and I'm ready to use my glue. And remember, beacons, it always comes oozing out. If you're using it on fabric, my suggestion always is to spread it out. If in the past when I've not spread it out, you can see the gloops in it. I don't know how else to say it. You can see exactly where you glued it through the fabric. Now with this project, it's not that important because I'm going to probably end up covering it up. But if you spread it out with your finger, with a paintbrush, whatever you like to use, you can't see it. You see, you can see that piece of, you can see the line through it from the back, but you can't see the glue, okay? So now I've got that done. Now it's just a matter, if I were sewing, I would take all this to my sewing machine and I would sew it, and instead of doing it with glue, I would sew this piece and then I'd sew everything on. So you have that option, okay? But because my sewing machine is not in a place that's accessible and easy, that's why I'm showing you how to glue it. So now it's just a matter of deciding where you want to glue your stuff, okay? Which, because we had it all set up, it makes it go really, really, really fast. Okay, again, spread it out. Just kind of force of habit there. Okay, and then we're going to put this down. And for this one, I'm probably just going to do this. Okay. And nothing came out of my glue bottle. Okay, guys. I'm telling you, either this, I love this, kind of have a love-hate relationship with it. It either comes out and works beautifully, or like as it was before, or it's oozing, right? Okay, so that's probably a little bit long, but that's okay. You can trim it up when you're completely done. So again, spread it out, okay? All right, now I'm gonna put it on here. I have to say, there's lots of loose threads when you're doing this project, you guys. Okay. All right. And I have found that less is more with this stuff. You don't need a whole bunch. Okay, so there's that. Okay. Now, I have this here. So it's kind of hanging off a little bit, and I'm okay with that. If you're not, you may want to clip it, but then you're going to move into your picture, so then you need to move it up a little bit. Okay, does that make sense? So I'm going to put this down here where I want it, and I'm just going to put a drop on the back. I'm going to get back in camera here. Okay, then I'm just going to spread it around, and that's kind of how I want it, just like that. Now these pieces, I don't want those, so I'm going to just take that and that off, because I just want it to be like that, okay? So, I hope you guys are doing good. I'm trying to think. We have rain and almost 60 degrees in Minnesota, which is absolutely unheard of in February. And all I'm going to say is if it snows, people are going to get super crabby because everyone thinks it's spring. And if it doesn't snow pretty soon, it will be spring, and then we'll be in a drought because we don't have any cold weather, or not cold weather, but any snow to melt to go into the lakes and rivers. And so That's not always a good thing that it doesn't snow. Okay, so I check. This isn't really down very well, so I'm going to just put another drop on it. Okay. Okay, there we go. Okay, so then we have that, just like that. And then I've got this little piece here, and I think I'm just going to fray it a little bit. Now, if I was going more of a vintagey look like this, I might go around and ink up some stuff with my distressed ink or my walnut stain, just to make it look a little bit older. But since this is a pretty clean one, meaning the pink is pretty clean, I'm not going to do that. But I'm going to put this right there, like we kind of had done. And I didn't want to fray too much, so do that. And I don't usually use a brush, you guys. I think if you've seen my stuff, I am totally a finger girl. I just do my stuff with my fingers, which is kind of who I am. I never mind getting dirty. Okay. So there is that. Now this has some little pieces of, it's not felt. I can't think of the name of it. Anyway, it's got some stuff that's on there that needs to come off. Okay, so anyway, I'm gonna clean this up. I stitch my buttons if I'm not gonna stitch them on, so they look like they're stitched even though they're just glued on. So that could be something else that you choose to do or not do. Also, if you buy old buttons, a lot of times they already have the stitching on them because people have cut them off clothing. And that is the way to go, people, because then you don't have to do anything but glue them on. So all I'm going to do is put the dabs of glue on here where I want them. And then I can just put the buttons down, right? Okay, and I want this little one in the middle. Okay, and I want this one on this side, kind of off center a little bit, and that one there. Okay, okay. And then for this piece down here, I'm going to take it and I'm just going to cut it a little bit so that it's more like the bottom of a ribbon, like a fishtail. Okay, just like that. Okay, and if you have any threads, oops, and it does take a little bit for it to dry, right? And so there you have an embellishment, a safety pin embellishment for your junk journal. So what I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with mine. Let me grab a book here. Hang on a second. So that was pretty easy, you guys, wasn't it? I thought you guys would like that one. It's fun and different. Okay, so I'm working on a girlfriend's book. That's what I'm calling it, is my girlfriend's book. So I want something. These are these two girls, right? And so I'm going to put them in. Let's see. Where would I put her? Here. Trying to see where I would like to put her. Okay. Maybe just on this page. I want it to be a focal point for something, but I don't necessarily want it to it's not used. I keep trying to think of a different way to explain it, but I can't explain it another way. It's just not used. It's just something pretty to look at, right? Kind of like when we were jewelry. It's just pretty to look at. Okay, so I'm going to put that, and I'm just going to glue down the back piece. All right. I'm sorry, that wasn't very clear. I'm just gluing where I had stitched it, the part that was doubled over. Okay, spread it out a little bit. And then put it on, just like that. Press down, right? And it dries fairly well. And then you have this. Now, you could put a little message under there if you wanted, or a poem or a quote or something like that. But pretty much it's not going to be a tuck. I guess you could glue it down this way, and then if you wanted, you could insert something in here. Okay. Now, this is done, but there was one part that I forgot to tell you that you can do if you want to do, but you don't have to do, is there are no words on here. So what I chose to do was, as I said, I used the Revenant rubs. So what you can do, and they do work just beautifully. You don't have to do anything. I mean, you don't have to spray it or treat it or anything. You just rub it on like you would on paper. So if I were to do one, it would have to be a little one. So I could do this one. Make it count. Okay. And remember, it doesn't need to be, oops, it doesn't need to be straight across. So I'm going to put it this way. And let's see if I can find my rubbing tool. All right, for now, I'll just use this one. Okay. So I'm going to put it right here. And again, you guys, you do you. You don't have to do this, but it does add to it. I think it adds something to it, right? And for me, you know, for some people, less is more, and I am more is more. That's who I am. That's why I usually wear 10 bracelets, is because I love bracelets, and I'd wear 20 if I could, but I have to take them off when I do aqua aerobics, you guys, because you should see how that chlorine just kills the shine on silver. So anyway, back to our project here. Okay, and then you're just going to pull it off. And see, it just adds a little bit of something. You know, at least in my point of view, my perspective is that I like that little bit, that pump of, or that little pop, not pump, that little pop of color, which is black and sticks out. And it's just really a cute little embellishment for your book. So I hope you guys like this. This is really, really a fun and easy way to use up scraps. And you don't necessarily even have to use the iron-ons if you have paper you like, or again, if you have fabric, like the one that I just glued in. That was fabric that I just fussy cut. So you can use whatever you want. But I just thought that the fabric made it a little bit different. Okay? So on that note, I'm going to let you guys go. I tried to make it quick. Next week, we will be making the dangle charm. I was going to do that this week, but I forgot that I had promised this one. So dangle charm is next week, even though it's Valentine's Day. So maybe I will use just Valentine's charms and make that our project would be a Valentine's dangle for the books, okay? And I kind of have a couple more ideas in mind, but if you have suggestions or there's something you want to see me try to put together, hey, put it in the notes below, because I would love to hear if you have a suggestion of something either you've seen on my channel that I've just shown as a completed project, or there's something that you saw someone else that you'd like to see my take on it. That would be fabulous. Thanks for stopping by, you guys. I always appreciate when you take the time to tune into my channel. There's so many talented people out there. So have a great day. Peace out.